this once and for all. I pored over every bit of evidence I could find, from clips to comment screenshots to actual peer-reviewed studies, and the conclusion was undeniable. We're going to go through all of it together, and I'll be right here with you every step of the way. Because this is going to be a brutal truth nuke. If you're a short guy who tries to cope through looks maxing, grab your emotional support blanket, because you're going to need it. And if you're an unattractive tall guy, get ready to be saturated with hope fuel. First, let's hear what women actually say about this when there's no social pressure to lie.
If I'm dating a tall man and he's ugly, mind your business. Because I'm not looking at that man's face. His height is distracting me from what's going on up there.
Can't get much clearer than that. The reasoning's sound too. If a guy's tall, a woman's more focused on his body than his face anyway. A face plays little role in intimacy. A guy with a handsome face is a cute companion, but a tall man with broad shoulders could just put a bag over his head and he'd be the hottest guy on earth. You might think, oh, she's just one woman. Her opinion isn't universal. And technically you'd be right, but look how popular her opinion is. 271,000 likes. It's honestly rare that I ever see a TikTok with that many likes, especially one related to height. It's usually no more than 30K. And who else would like this post but other women? But to rub it in even further, let's check out the comments. This is just a small snapshot
Sega. technological upgrade underway.
Snapshot of the overwhelming consensus among women in the comments of this post. If a guy's tall, she doesn't care what he looks like. Now you could argue that the first comment, like I can't even see his face for real, and the second, too tall, I can't even see what he looks like, are disagreeing. If you really think about it, what they're actually saying is that his looks don't even matter because they can't even see his face. And the last three, this is so real. And no, for real, as long as bro's tall, are all further reinforcing the consensus. 5 out of 5 comments in a given snapshot all agree that height is more important. And these are fairly attractive young women, too. But that's not all. Some of these comments were so widely upvoted that it becomes impossible to deny how widely held this opinion is. Cinnamon says, "My friend says, what does he do?" And I said, "Oh, he's 6'7". 13K likes. Zrin says, "For real, some of us can't see that far up." 19K likes. And Jamie says, "Especially if he has nice muscles, like it ain't there, man." 4.6K likes. Notice how she says, especially. This insinuates that muscles aren't even a requirement if you're tall. Just a bonus. But that first comment from Cinnamon
Intruders.
makes the perfect
Oh, hell,
segue
we've
into
been
my
found.
next example.
All right, you beings. I don't care who you are. Feel the might of the Baneblade.
6'5". What's his name? Who cares? He's 6'5".
This is such a popular opinion among women that it literally became a viral meme. You might think it's all a joke,
We
but
heard
it's
out of the
not.
swamplands that the Knights
Beautiful
had gotten
young
smart enough
women
to
are
crush
getting with
Karsten.
unattractive tall
See
guys
if you're
just
smart
because they're
enough to pull
tall.
back from a
They could
Baneblade.
literally have the pick of attractive short guys, but they're overwhelmingly choosing tall ones with videos like this. Let's look at another. I mean, look at that guy, bro.
Damn,
You
Nisha.
tell me
We can't
if
get
you
through
think
here.
that that's a handsome
Find
face.
another path.
But it doesn't seem to matter, because once these women see his height, he's fine AF. There's actually a scientific reason why women seem to forget what handsome actually means when a guy is tall. And we'll delve further into that when I show you what the mating experts have to say a bit later in the video. But how about all you copers out there who think 6'1" to 6'3" is the ideal height range for men? Think again. Apparently, even if you're hot, 6'1" isn't tall enough for a lot of women these days. Could it get any more blatant than this? Yes, it can. This girl here thinks a 10 out of 10 face without height is a 2.
He's a 10, but he's the same height as you.
Could go haywire if the cogitator is destroyed.
He's a 10.
A 2! I can't.
You're so annoying!
You heard it, folks. While not all women agree on this, the picture is getting clear. They need the height. They don't need the face. If a 10 out of 10 face is a 2 without height, then how can you argue that face is more important? You might think these videos don't hold much sway because they're just chasing viral trends, even though the popularity of height is the reason for the virality in the first place. But for the skeptics out there, I've even got a couple street interviews.
He's tall, but he's a 4 out of 10, or he's short, but he's a 9 out of 10. He's a 4 out of 10. Why? I just feel like height matters the most. Like, you can't really be with someone that's short. Yeah, I get that, to be honest. You don't want to look down at someone. Sorry to the short kids.
That's brutal. Any more in your face about it. She has the gall to give a kind sorry to the short kids. As if that's anything other than a joke. I mean, the other girl even laughed. She knows that short claims is just an ironic insult at this point. If they were actually honest with how they phrase it, they call us short peasants, not kids. That's not the only thing. There's another.
He's tall, but he's a 4 out of 10, or he's short, but he's a 9 out of 10.
Tall. Face card doesn't.
Tall. Did you hear how fast she was to answer that question? She didn't even have to think about it. The answer's so obvious. Face card doesn't matter without height. And here's just one more clip. In case she didn't spelled out for you, she's insinuated that even if you have a 10 out of 10 face, she will reject you possibly if you're short. This comment was made under the third extreme, along the lines of the last two. All 3 women interviewed prioritize height above all else. The tall guy won out in the tournament of every other thing a man could be other than tall. Confident, handsome, rich, muscular, kind, funny, etc. So this guy says it all for us. No personality needed, as long as you're tall. That's what this teaches us. Reality is, this was just a small taste of the many clips and interviews out there reiterating women's intense desire to remind short guys that even if you're handsome, you're not good enough. There's simply not enough time to show them all, so I ended up taking some screenshots of some honorable mentions. The ugliest man walks in, but he's tall. I mean, look at those lustful eyes. You know she doesn't care. And I don't blame her. If a woman's 6'5", I don't care what her face looks like either. If he's over 6'2", he's allowed to be a little ugly. Again, reinforcing the idea that even 6'1" isn't good enough. When the 10 out of 10 5'7" guy is leaving me undelivered, but the 5 out of 10 6'5" guy is typing, you can tell she's feeling euphoric about that. Or how about this? When the universe sends me an attractive 5'11" guy instead of an ugly 6'2" guy. It's obvious she prefers the ugly one. It's crazy to me how just 3 inches can be enough to make face not matter. Now, I will concede that occasionally there are women who post the opposite preference. But it's hard to tell if they're truly being authentic or just trying to farm engagement from all the desperate short kings out there who leave comments letting them know that they're single. Never once have I seen any of these women respond to a single one of those men in their comments. Here's an example. The 6'2", 5 out of 10 guy starts applying pressure, but his 5'6" face card demon friend standing behind him. It's clear who the cute Asian girl here prefers. But I can tell you from experience that women making posts like these are the outliers. They seem to attract more men in the comments, while the ones preferring height seem to attract more women. Why do you think that is? Let me know in the comments. But speaking of comments, It's clear that there are women out there who will reject tall guys who aren't handsome, but as you can see here, Fairy says she would still smash. And there are a lot of women passionate enough about this perspective that they go out of their way to make sure everyone else knows. They want short men to know we're unwanted. Now, there are guys out there who try to speak on this subject too, trying to convince themselves as much as other guys that face matters more than height. I call them face copers. And when women find these posts, they're so driven to correct him that they flood the comments with the most intense opposition they can muster. By the time this face coper got through his comments after this video, I can imagine he was well and truly black-pilled. Here's a few of many. Black and Beautiful says, "Care about height. I don't want no man the same height as me. I like tall men. You can't be no attractive short man. That's not gonna work for me." You can just feel the vitriol radiating off the screen. She can't put up with the idea that a manlet might see this and think he has a chance with her. Face card be damned. Madison says, not true, LOL. As a 5'6" girl, I'm not looking at any man under 5'10". I don't care how hot he is. I just can't do it. And there's more. Jessica says, nah, women prefers taller men. A regular-looking guy with big physique and 6 foot up will always outshine a good-looking guy with an ethereal face card of 5'9" below. It is what it is. You hear that, folks? Always outshine. Always. And the last one's short and sweet, like me. India Jean lays it out loud and clear. The height requirement is 6'2" and up. Where have we heard that one before? Seems like 6'2" as a minimum seems fairly universal, but not everyone is so upfront.
When I saw how tall he was, I was like, okay, I need to make myself a check. Like, cool girl turned on. When you're tall, it just gives you it's 3 extra points. You could be a 6, and if you're tall, you're a 9.
I know I said these women were going to be more subtle about it, but in all honesty, I just meant they aren't blatantly saying that height matters more. But the implication's pretty clear. Height makes face matter less. This is, again, something I'll touch more on when the mating experts enter the picture.
Diabolical things I want in a man. Number 1, height. My man's gotta be above 6'2".
If you read between the lines on this one, her insinuation about the importance of height is communicated mostly through the absence of the mention of face as a factor. It's like it doesn't even exist as a factor once height enters the picture. And for on-screen text, we see no mention of face either. Height is number 1, and she wants you to know. Here's another example of a woman describing her dream man. Again, height is the first full set. The rest are things a man can change about himself, like muscle, hair, and facial hair, except for the deep voice, which is also correlated with height. Nowhere does she mention that he has to be handsome. And then we got this gal saying she needs a tall, muscular, rich man. No mention of the face card. And lucky for her, as I say here, height and wealth tend to go together. More on that later. And then there's these two girls. They're so worried about losing the tall, athletic guys, even if the shorter but most handsome guys are still here. They don't care about us. It's obvious through omission of handsomeness as a factor that the tall men are the most valuable to them, ugly or not. And if you think money will save you, think again. I found multiple entire threads on a popular forum of women viscerally shit-talking short men displaying some serious disdain. The woman here makes it clear. There is nothing on earth that would make her date a short guy. Another read between the lines moment. If nothing would make her do it, then that includes money, muscles, and the best face card on earth. Here's a great example of just that. As you can see, the girl in the picture is clearly leaning towards the tall sub-5 guy and away from the far more attractive and muscular guy who's only a couple inches taller than her. And I've seen a couple of you tall guys say that your acne is a death sentence. But look at the skin on this guy. Both of these women really want short guys to know how inferior they think we are. they both take this opportunity to hijack the interview so they can disparage short men, as if there already isn't enough of that in the world. Earlier, we saw a comment on an interview that was basically saying you don't need a personality if you're tall. So now, I have a clip of a 6'9" guy saying it straight to our faces. Now that I think about it, this is the only male we've heard from so far in our sources.
Is it easier for you, think, because of the height to get girls, or?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, they don't know my personality, but yeah.
Do you need a personality when you're 6'9"?
It's pretty obvious. Height is such a coveted trait that women will likely put up with abuse and infidelity just to keep him, and cheat on short male partners if given the opportunity to get dominated by this 6'9" Chad. And this guy isn't even a Chad either. If you look at his face, it's about average.
How tall are you?
6'9".
Of course, 6'9" is a cheer from all the women in the crowd. Most of the guys here seem pretty uncomfortable. Every last one of them is feeling involuntarily pumped, whether they like it or not. I mean, it's like, hey, this isn't what I signed up for. I signed up for a comedy show. I should have to make these guys sign consent forms. But the point is, to all the people who try to say that 6'5" is too tall, how come this guy is describing being fawned over like a god by thirsty females everywhere he goes? Apparently, feeling small and manhandled is a pretty big part of the appeal.
Is there something that being 6'9" has allowed you to have, like, a certain skill?
When you left them out, you do that. Are you asked this for the heights before?
I get it. I really do. I want to be lifted, carried, manhandled, and slapped around by a 6'9" woman just as much as these women want that from a 6'9" man. So we've looked at all the stuff women say. The words are cheap. How about we look at what they actually do with their money and filters? People like to tell short men that if we have trouble getting matches on dating apps, then we should just go touch some grass and meet women in real life. Women in real life don't care about height. Boomers and foids especially love to wave us away with this dismissive statement. Just look at how couples meet in the USA. Every single other avenue of meeting people has dropped while online dating has skyrocketed. And you can't just blame the pandemic either. It was happening before that too. And the trend has only continued. It's become increasingly difficult to meet women out and about in society. At least here in the United States. Let me know if it's different in the UK or Europe or Australia. I have a feeling it's pretty similar in Canada and Australia, because we all have a lot in common in the old Commonwealth countries. But for real, all I see when I go out are couples, illegal immigrants, teenagers, and geezers. If I do see a group of female friends at a bar or something, they're usually pretty closed off to the rest of the world and unwelcoming to anyone they see as inferior. This is the reason short men have it worse than tall guys on dating apps. Keep in mind, this is from 2021, and filters used to be free. As you can see, more women filtered out any men under 7 feet tall than women who set their minimum to 5'11". Honestly, I think the reason the percentage of women setting filters dropped after 6'6" is because they knew it would shrink their options too much. If there were more guys above 6'6", you can bet your ass they would choose taller. But you see, more recently, those filters have been monetized more and more. And we're seeing women all over the world willing to pay a pretty penny every month to not have to waste time swiping through 100 manlets to see even one tall guy who's enough for them. She'll never even see how handsome your face is, and she doesn't give a single shit.
$75 a month, and you haven't met anyone yet.
The main reason ugly tall guys have it better than short handsome guys on dating apps is because these women don't even look at your face first. They look at the number first. Your face card isn't even on their radar until the height checks out. I would know. I love tall women, and I do the same thing. If I don't see at least a 10 after that 5, it's an automatic left swipe from me, Missy. Face isn't a factor when you're competing for the top 1% tallest people on Earth. They're rare enough, for fuck's sake. Also, apparently it's more politically correct to cut off short men with a height filter than it is to use AI to analyze faces and provide an ugliness filter. Probably because women would be equally as affected by that. But that's okay, because it only hurts short men. We're just an unwanted eyesore to both women and the companies that run these apps, handsome or not. And you have to think, if women really cared about having a face filter, you would see them asking for it all over the internet. They're more than happy with just a height filter. Can't be picky with face when there's so few tall guys around. And if you think it's just an app thing, watch what happens when they do it in person.
Let's welcome our next single guy.
What's up, big dog? Damn, baby. Shit, you didn't let me say nothing. It's the height? Okay, I respect it.
What's your name, age, and what do you do?
I'm Henry. Shit, it's the name? Alright, for sure.
The only reason why I popped it was the height.
Kaya, 22, and honestly, same, the height. That's literally the only reason. But you seem very smart. You have
I make
very
up for it in a
nice
lot of
eyes.
ways, though, you know what I'm saying? But
Okay,
it's cool.
facts,
You know what I'm saying? It's cool, though. You know what I'm saying?
Did you hear that? Facts. That's the most polite, no you don't, I've ever heard in my life. Bro, she does not care if you've got the face of an angel, $1 million in the bank, and you're hung like Ron Jeremy. If you're not 6'7" like the host, none of that means shit.
And it's just, you know, it's just not my type. It's just not my type. He's friendly though.
I'll translate that one for you, buddy. You're not tall enough, but she's too embarrassed to say it because she's the shortest woman there by far and would likely be judged the most for rejecting him based on height.
Hey, but he gonna be spending his money with me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just playing up.
I was going for her, honestly. I like her.
All right.
And I'm very athletic. I like to go to the gym and stuff.
Okay.
And I need somebody that does to do those things with me.
So?
You know, so it's just like in height.
Did you catch that? She had a whole speech ready. The gym, the lifestyle. I need somebody that does those things with me. And then she just ran out of steam and said what the real reason was. Height. She knows that guy could easily go work out with her. Every single woman on that stage popped their balloon. And every last one of them, when it came down to it, had the same reason. Not his face and not his personality. They literally complimented his personality on the way out. Smart, nice, friendly. Congratulations, king. You got everything but the one trait they filter for. And his face was never even a part of the conversation. But this whole height matters most thing isn't just some crackpot theory. It's backed up by mating experts, guys with credentials. Literal biologists are on my side with this. And I couldn't have possibly said it any better than this guy right here.
Tall men are more likely to reproduce, more likely to get married, have more romantic partners, and are rated as more attractive by women compared to short men. I'm a scientist studying human mating. Here's why women love tall men. First, energetically, as a mammal, it's just practically very difficult to grow tall. And so, if you are tall, it's a sign that you were well-nourished and healthy during development. Second, height obviously has a genetic component, and since height is attractive, there is a circular benefit where women who select men who are tall are more likely to have tall sons who are more likely to reproduce themselves.
This is for all you copers out there who try to act like height is 100% genetic. This guy backs me up. Height is confirmed to be associated with wealth and abundance, while smallness is associated with poverty and lack. This isn't just societal, but biological, and tied to human evolution, eventually manifesting in genetics. Height as an evolutionary response to prosperity, and smallness as an adaptation or degradation resulting from chronic lack of resources. There's no getting around it, folks. It's all connected.
Third, you have to consider that height is a real advantage in male-male combat. Sure, there are exceptions like Gervonta who beat up taller guys, but in Finlay's analysis of over 30 years of heavyweight boxing, he found that winners were on average taller than losers. I personally would starve down to 165 pounds to compete in amateur boxing when I was younger, because frankly, it's just easier to win in a fist fight if you are taller than someone. You can hit them from distances where they can't hit you. Now, I'm not saying that women think about these benefits consciously, but what I am saying is that it's pretty mainstream thinking in my field to suspect that women in our ancestry who preferred tall men benefited from better protection as well as more robust genes for their offspring. These genetic and defensive benefits made the offspring of these women more likely to survive, reproduce, and pass on their mother's preference for taller men, making this preference common in women today.
I've been telling you guys this since I started my channel. If you cope by telling yourself that you can gym max and train your way to dominating every taller man you see, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but no matter how hard you work, you'll always be at a significant, insurmountable disadvantage. The power potential is very different. A guy my height, 5'4", and a guy a foot taller than me is such a vast gap that it competes for first place with the incoming, which is also important. So if you're a tall, ugly guy trying to gaslight us and you have it just as bad, you're about to be enlightened. What this guy just said about male combat advantage is further supported by a variety of academic findings. Many sources cited also cite superior potential for muscular power in taller combat. It seems to me like the advantages of being taller are stacked up a lot higher than the advantages of top face. It's also increasingly clear that there's some pretty solid evolutionary model embedded in the instincts of females that makes them place height above every other trait.
And when you understand this theoretical landscape, it makes sense why even shorter than average women prefer taller than average men, because it's not really about conforming to the social norm of having a male partner who's taller than yourself. The main foundation here is reaching the evolutionary benefits of a male who is taller than other males.
That one's for all you chuds out there who cope by trying to tell yourself that this is all society's fault, and that women are just brainwashed to like short men by generations of cultural influence. That this whole state of hypergamy we're facing today is completely unnatural. I mean, sure, there's some truth to that. It has been exacerbated by social media and dating apps, but that's just a magnification of what was already there. Tall and dominant. Women know this distinction. Pretty face can't dominate. It performs little to no function during intimacy. And if you're some super tall guy who's 6'6", even a sub-5 one, who complains about being too tall, listen up. Get ready to check your privilege. What this guy is about to say is what I've been telling people for years. There is no such thing as too tall to these women, even if there are diminishing returns to increasing height. Now, I've got an expert backing me up. What do you have?
Now, these preferences are not laws. It does seem that there are some groups, such as among the Datoga people of Tanzania, where women do not consistently prefer taller men. And in this case, Sorakowski and Butovskaya hypothesized that it may be because there's frequent violence from men towards women in this group, and so a large male is more of a threat than a defensive benefit. Another possibility they mentioned is that in regions where women frequently die from childbirth, a larger male who promises larger babies might be a bit of a liability. More research is needed. Now, a common question I get is there such thing as too tall? And having read a lot of this literature, I would tentatively say yes. It's pretty clear that being taller than average is better than being shorter than average, but these benefits become less clear past about 6'3". 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", it's all really attractive, but it's unclear if there's more benefit from being taller past that point.
Look at that graph real quick. It almost looks like the outcome for 6'5" guys goes down. But if you look at the spread, the line it sits on, there are a wider range of outcomes compared to 6'3" to 6'4", and it still reaches higher highs. This graph here shows what I'm talking about even better than the one Hazy's. Even though the moving average shows a drop-off in desirability for height differences greater than 30 centimeters or 1 foot, you can still see a general upward trend with the dots plotted here. They're just more scattered and varied, but they still trend higher. A lot of them trend significantly higher, which just shows how insanely fetishized extreme male height is to women. Not all women, I'm going to generalize here. Like he says, There are so many women that will disregard every red flag, ignore an ugly face and rotten personality as long as they're tall. While short men are literally starving for affection, tall men are drowning in so much anger that they're actually feeling disgusted by how many women worship and swoon over their height, feeling like an objectified piece of meat. And this guy's autistic, too. So don't let autism hold you back from realizing how privileged you are if you're tall. Most of these women won't even care about your personality or interests anymore. They won't remember you by your face. They'll remember you by your body. This expert's about to explain what I'm getting at.
And once you get up to really tall, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", there is a plausible drop-off. It seems to be a slight one. I think you'd still be better off being basketball player tall than 5'10", but I should note that at 6'7", you're so rare that even if you are too tall for the median woman, for the women who like super tall men, you're probably the tallest man that those women will ever meet in person in their life. At least that they'll be able to talk to and get to know personally. And when you're out and about, you're just so striking at that height that I would say that the combination of rarity and presence that you get from that doesn't feel like a dating disadvantage to be that tall. If I had to guess, it probably feels like and functions as an advantage to be that tall, even considering that the average woman probably wouldn't select that height in the abstract.
I never felt so vindicated in my life. I've been arguing with people in the comments about this for years, and now I just had a credentialed expert confirm my stance on everything. Thank you, Mr. Expert. It's been indispensable. Or, I should say his name, Murphy.
What do you mean we can't pursue any further? We can't let them get away?
But yeah,
they can't escape?
Face was more important than height. You'd think it would be included in the conversation. No. Pretty face is common for a guy about 6 feet. It's hardly worth mentioning as a primary driver of female sexuality. We've even got famous looks-maxers chiming in, given the most extreme take I've ever heard in favor of height over face. I know he's not really a dating expert, but he's definitely on the winning side of the debate.
So the guy asked the girl, if I told you I was 5'8", and then showed up 6'1" on the date, what would you say?
I would have been mad as shit if I found out 5'8".
This is why I say, looks maxing. Doesn't matter how handsome you are, doesn't matter how muscular you are, doesn't matter how much money you have. She's gonna have some tall, ugly dude come over that night and break the bed.
Now, I wouldn't go as far as that guy did to say looks don't matter at all. They clearly do, in many ways. And there is a subset of women who prioritize looks over height. I'll talk more about that in future videos. You should have recognized. That was the guy who got the botched eye surgery, right? He's clearly trying to cope with such a massive blow to his sense of self-worth, because he used to take a lot of pride in his face. To him, blaming height entirely helps take the pressure off his shoulders. I get it, but reality has outliers, and I'm willing to recognize that. Now here's another mating expert who pretty much proves to me that we share the same brain when he says height makes women forget about face. Finally, someone who gets it.
I've talked to multiple women, I shit you not, who have literally told me that they often can't tell whether a man is cute or if he's just tall. Like, that's how much height fucks with the female perception. The man could be as ugly as sin, but if he's 6'4", there are gonna be women who will line up to sleep with him because they can't fucking tell the difference.
This guy and me are on the exact same page. It's so obvious. Face is so irrelevant to women compared to height that their brains have literally adapted over millions of years to not even notice if a guy is ugly if he's tall. That explains those videos earlier, those clips with women blatantly showing preference for ugly tall guys over short handsome guys and saying that height gives you an automatic 3 points. To many, if not most women, it pretty much nullifies an unattractive face. And women are quite vocal about this. Remember earlier when we were talking about dating apps and I said women can't afford to be picky when there are so few tall guys around? I guess I had some kind of premonition about all this because here we have yet another mating expert repeating exactly what I've been saying.
only 14% of American men are that tall, and only 25% of men over 50 are single. Taken together, this means that a great deal of women in the U.S. are attempting to date the same very small percentage of men. And this, of course, both radically increases those women's intra-sexual competition and those men's optionality, driving down the likelihood that any of those men will commit to any of those women.
This is hypergamy in a nutshell. But it's driven more by height than face, considering what we've learned so far. And this isn't just a conclusion I've come to based on anecdotal experience and listening to random people on the internet. I've found legit studies to back it up. Ones regarding dating and beyond. If everything you've seen so far still isn't enough evidence for you that height's more important than face, then let's see what the actual research is. Now, there's no perfect study that pits height against face directly, so this is the best comparison I can come up with. For some odd reason, this study divides the face into a bunch of random parts, not even including the nose, and asks people to rank each one separately. Certainly not ideal for my needs. So I just averaged the ranks of every individual facial feature against height's independent rank. And what do you know? Height came out ahead. Height in 5th, and face at 6th to 7th. The things that ranked above height were all mostly things a man can change, mainly related to muscle. Number 2 was teeth, which was weird, but teeth can be changed pretty easily compared to height by either taking care of them or getting dental work done. Number 4 was skin, which could mean many things, but as far as the things a man can't change easily goes, height was number 1. But keep in mind, this is a 2007 study, so before dating. Height inflation has gotten much worse since then. I'd like to see them try this study again today, but on millennials and Gen Z. Let me know in the comments how you think that would go. There are also no studies specifically pitting height against attractiveness for life outcomes and income. But I would argue that, as you see in the research, height goes far beyond dating, even more than looks does. Which is part of why women are instinctively repulsed by smallness. Evolution has proven a pattern to be true again and again. Short men consistently made superior providers and protectors throughout human history. That sticks in genetic memory. Beauty and the labor market is one of the best known studies regarding looks and its impact on income. And it's my best reference to compare against a height study. Now here's where it gets messy. Reality is, like I said before, there's no clean study that puts height and looks head-to-head regarding that. So anyone claiming a definitive winner is overreaching, me included. But based on the evidence I've seen, I'm leaning towards height. And here's my logic. The most cited research pulled its data and found that being facially unattractive costs you around 9% below average for income, while being facially attractive boosts you to about 5% above average. Put those together, and you're looking at a gap of maybe 14% between the low end and the high end. Now compare that to height. The height studies land somewhere around 2 to nearly 3% more income per inch. So even if I'm generous and used a modest 2.3% per inch, an 8-inch height gap already puts you at 18%. That's bigger than the entire beauty spread. Here's my honest disclaimer though. The numbers at the extremes, like strikingly attractive versus homely, come from tiny sample sizes, and I mean tiny. So they're all over the place year to year, and I don't fully trust them. But yeah, there's no perfect study comparing height and face directly, so I'm not going to pretend this is settled science. But here's my theory. When you actually compare them fairly, the height gap seems to hit at least as hard as the looks gap, maybe harder. When people discuss prejudice and unfair advantages related to physical features, height gets talked about way less than looks. And I think that's exactly why it deserves a closer look. So here's why you probably have never heard any of this talked about in school or college. One of my viewers, Nolan Krieg, left me this unforgettable comment. Quite sad to read, really. He's from Germany and tells me his middle-aged female professor at university wanted them to do a project on a lesser-known social issue. So when a short guy asked to do heightism, her response was to mock him in front of everyone and tell him it doesn't exist, and say he couldn't do it anyway because he's biased. Just imagine if she said that to one of those Middle Eastern migrants over there that they bend over backwards for when they ask to talk about racism. Or even a trans person wanting to do a report on trans rights. For some reason, it's politically correct to deny and mock heightism when the consequences are very real, significant, and proven. The same cannot be said for ugliness, and there's a good reason for this. So this guy, Nolan Krieg, who's 6 feet tall, decided to make a report about it instead. Quite the commendable decision, but unfortunately, I ended up never hearing from him again after I agreed to answer his questions. But the reason ugliness isn't as politically correct to mock and dismiss is because women are not impacted by heightism as much as men, both in their careers and especially in dating. If women were made to feel insecure about their heights as much as men are, it would be universally condemned to make fun of someone's height or take advantage of them. But we're just men. Our feelings don't matter. And honestly, it seems like to these people, neither do our lives. Most feminists, especially in academia, only validate the struggles they face, or the ones faced by anyone who isn't a white male. As a short man, your struggles aren't real. Now this is where it gets kind of insane. The right has so much potential. The right one is much cuter, followed by potential plus sign. As a tall girl, definitely the right one. The right's better. I won't show every comment, but this gave a good snapshot of the overwhelming consensus from women in the comments of this post that height and frame matter more than face. And this last comment, likely from a guy, sums it all up. Full potential versus high potential. Women instinctively know that the man with higher potential is the one with more valuable genetic stock, and likely a higher status family lineage. That tall guy on the right could easily ascend and far surpass the appeal of the chadlet on the left, even if he never matches the short guy's face card. Speaking of potential, physical power and appeal isn't the only thing tall men have a higher potential for. Turns out, there's a pretty solid correlation between height and the size of your meat rocket. I mean, it does make sense when you think about how they have later, longer puberties and spend more time growing and developing than short men do. I get that it's hard to hear. I used to cope by telling myself, but everything balances out in the end because short guys are larger down there, right? Yeah, unfortunately, tall men have that too. They've just got everything, don't they? So yeah, if you're like me and you fall outside that trend of taller and bigger and shorter and smaller, then you're the exception, not the rule. We're statistical outliers. But don't just take my word for it on height versus face. This is what it actually sounds like from my fellow manlets. This was a commenter on my channel, Jaded U4Y. He describes his height pill moment during his gym cell phase. Boy, can I relate to that. He had just finished a 2-hour gym session and walked out behind a cute girl who was his own looks match, only to watch her run straight into the arms of a guy waiting outside. A guy with a 4 out of 10 face, greasy hair, and a gut, but none of it mattered because he was 6'4" with a big frame. He calls this experience a demoralizing memory and ends with, "It's over." And with this next one, a 5'6" guy says he's relatively attractive, but the only people who ever show real interest in him are gay men, who are pretty vocal about finding him attractive and wanting him as a bottom. Meanwhile, any interest he's gotten from women has just been stares that he's not even sure were genuine attraction versus just being creeped out from him staring at them first. To tell you the truth, guys, I couldn't relate more to everything this guy said here, including that last bit. For real. I even made a video about how I only seem to attract gay men myself. If face was so important, why are unattractive and autistic tall guys drowning in attention from women with domination kinks who probably read too many dark adult novels? This isn't just about dating or careers either. It bleeds into how short men are treated, period. One of the main ways males establish dominance and respect from other males is through bullying, essentially reminding lower status males of their place in the hierarchy, reminding them that they only exist at the mercy of their superior and can be extorted and exploited at any time. It's a source of ego and fuel for their superiority complex, getting to exert their full power onto someone smaller and weaker than them, and getting drunk on that physical power and supremacy. Bullying is an overt display of dominance, overwhelmingly committed by larger males against smaller males. It's no wonder male bullies often have the most success with women. When women see those displays of power, it triggers their primal dom-sub fantasies, and it only makes the dominant male look even better by comparison. Watching the big man humiliate the small man is like foreplay to them. This woman explains it herself. Being 6 foot plus is the minimum definition of what a man is. She actually downplays the role of face by saying that people can prefer different things facially. This is something I was going to mention myself. Face has more variation in the types that women go for, whereas height is just polar. You're either tall or short, and 95% of women choose tall. Face be damned. To her, height also means confidence. Tall bullies are the most cocky and confident men there are. Height means bigger presence, too. Something associated with leadership potential. Dave Robson describes it in his 2015 report on heightism. Taller candidates receive more votes, and they're considered more dominant, healthy, and intelligent. And they also make more money. He also highlights how every US president has been above average height, with Barack Obama at 6'1" and Abe Lincoln at 6'4", a literal giant for his time. Now, Abe Lincoln is a good example of a tall guy who wasn't held back by his face. He wasn't known for being attractive. In fact, I once heard my female cousin tell me that Abraham Lincoln was ugly. But yeah, the prestige, presence, and dominance that height gives you as a leader is far more important than just looking cute or pretty. Height's also more associated with status and upbringing, so it's a subtle way that people judge your pedigree. Almost like a permanent branding of social class. On the topic of heightism and politics, I made a TikTok a while back about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, saying that Stephen Miller is angry because he's 4'10". She used height as an insult and brought every other short man down along with her target, without even a care to the world, because heightism is apparently the last socially acceptable prejudice. And here we got more women reinforcing heightism, saying that he's 5'10" but acts 4'10". Either they're purposely degrading short men, or they're just that completely oblivious to the fact that they're contributing to male body image issues and dogpiling on a marginalized group. Then we got another woman commenting on my video saying that she hates when short guys whine about their height, and that it makes them look insecure and pathetic. Now, imagine if she replaced the word short with race or gender or anything else, how cancelable that statement would be. And the worst one of all looks like it comes from a guy. XL Sandman here says that a 4'10" man doesn't belong in the government because it's an embarrassment to the nation. It's crazy to think how openly prejudiced you can be, and these social media platforms just let it stay up, all while similar phrasing with another marginalized group would get automatically flagged as hate speech and have your account restricted. And of course, the next guy in the replies agrees with a yes. So I decided to chime in and shine a light on what this comment represents. This is the very same line of thinking that's the reason why elites seek to stunt the growth of the masses. Now, this next woman's comment makes a good case for why women see short men as so inferior and are repulsed by us far more than by a tall man who's ugly. She's 5'4", yet she sees men around her own height as handicapped, disadvantaged, and not as capable as tall men. She remarks on how ingrained heightism is in our society and how fucked up it is. But she says it almost like it gives her some kind of sick, sadistic pleasure that short men are so inferior and disenfranchised. She says she feels sorry for us. But at least she's not one of the ones that gaslight us and try and say that heightism doesn't exist. They're the worst. One of my viewers, Workbot8, describes the situation quite well. He says that not only do women despise you, but other men see you as a potential victim that they step on to climb the social ladder. The same cannot be said for being ugly. Well said, Workbot, well said. I wish I could say it as cleanly and succinctly as you did. We see height supremacy reflected everywhere around us far more than lookism. Everywhere from gaming to the animal kingdom. I know, the kitties are adorable, but they're acting out an age-old dominance hierarchy ritual that's been seen across most species and organisms on the planet. Imagine if the little kitten had its growth stunted by chemicals and never got much bigger than he is right now. Stuck in the body of a kitten for the rest of his life. Imagine how that would affect his ability to provide for himself and a mate and defend himself against being taken advantage of or abused by larger cats. This is the situation that many short men find themselves in today. And it's yet another reason why women see height as so valuable, and why body size will always have the most impact on a person's mating and life outcomes. Of the many disadvantages short, handsome men face that tall, ugly ones don't, some of the most brutal ones relate to aging and surgery. First of all, it's just way easier to change your face than it is to change your height. Facial surgery is far faster, cheaper, safer, and has better results than height surgeries. Facial surgery can potentially take you from sub-5 to Chad, but limb lengthening can only get you a few inches at most before you start looking disproportionate. Hair transplants are pretty simple by comparison too, so even bald cells have more hope than short cells. If you want more information about all the downsides of height surgery, check out the 10-minute video I made about it. I'll link in the description. Steve Goodman here says that ageism is right up there with heightism. My perspective is a little bit different. The difference is, we all get old. It's not like it's something a select few elites don't have to suffer through like heightism is. And as I say here in my reply, the idea that aging makes us all equal is a delusional cope too. Tall men never lose that much height. But a short guy with a good face card, it almost always fades with age. And pretty quickly at that, especially if he loses his hair. Face depreciates, but height is permanent. Were there any points about why height matters more than face that I missed in this video? Or any points you disagree with or still leave you unconvinced? Let me know in the comments. Also, if by some miracle there are females in my audience here, let me know in the comments if you're one of the rare few who prioritize face over height, even if a guy's 5'4". And to the special few who made it to the end of the video, comment the word brutal or add it to your pre-existing comment. That way I can show my appreciation, because you're the ones who help this channel the most. Watch time is everything. All that said, like the video if you liked it, give me some hype points if you're on mobile, and subscribe for more truth nukes and brutal stories. You might also enjoy this epic dive into all the examples of heightism in video games, and the various forms it plays out as. So click here if that interests you. Thanks for watching.
The Fallout and Elder Scrolls franchise is finally, truly dead. There is absolutely not even the slightest hope that this is gonna be anything else but a pile of folk shit. And that's the best case scenario. Chances are this is gonna be such a incomprehensible, ununderstandable mess that we are gonna have to find ways to lobotomize ourselves to forget how bad it is. This is gonna be 100 times, or should I say 16 times worse than Starfield. You have probably already heard the news. Elder Scrolls 6, just as your boy said, by the way, predicted it as always, is at least 2 or more years away. So the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming. And Fallout 2 Vegas 2 is also probably coming. Or at least some Fallout project from Obsidian. And Obsidian is arguably worse than Bethesda. There is not a single person who thinks that this is a good thing. If you are a Fallout fan, if you are an Elder Scrolls fan, then know that these games need to be buried, forgotten, until this situation just blows over, we fix the games industry, and then they can be made. Everyone knows that Bethesda is incapable of making a game at this point. Like, look at Starfield. It is easily one of the worst experiences I have seen in my life. And the worst part is that Starfield, then that Shattered Space, the expansion, which was horrible, and then there was Terran Armada, which was so bad, you sometimes didn't have sentences that were supposed to follow those sentences. And Obsidian, what has Obsidian done? Obsidian made a vow, and Elder Worlds 2. Horrible, purely woke garbage. Best case scenario, these games are gonna be woke so I can just milk how funny and hilariously bad
Sergeant
they are.
Lysandros, be
And
advised.
that's the best case
Enemy forces
scenario.
have
And
been
this is
detected
confirmed.
inside the settlement.
IGN is reporting
Do not
on it.
deviate from your
Bloomberg
mission.
is reporting
Our
on it. from
priority
Jason
is to
Schreier.
demolish
And
every
needless
last
to say,
structure
the
in
most
this miserable
important part is
village.
what us, the consumers, the players, the fans, not fans of Bethesda, but fans of the franchise. There's no such thing as a Bethesda fan any longer, nor is there an Obsidian fan. It is truly hard to express, actually, in words how truly bad the situation is. If you were looking forward to these things, you know I'm giving 0% chances. Both. We were the first shit that you looking for. I give it a 0% chance of success. Every single thing that you think about the first trailers we were going to see are going to be instantaneously horrendous garbage. There is no other choice. And people are not happy. Listen, people are absolutely losing it because most people know that there's no chance of succeed. But look at these tweets. I mean, we have some bangers. One that is Starfield was fine. This is Emil Pagliariano. That guy who said, what's the point of writing a good story if people are not going to appreciate it anyway? The head writer for Elder Scrolls 6, by the way. Probably the guy who's going to have huge influence over how Obsidian handles their story in the new Fallout franchise. Yes, aren't you excited? Aren't you? I'm not. I'm fucking not. In any case, for the record, Starfield was developed by the most wonderful, diverse team I've ever worked with. Old, young, female, male, non-binary, cis, trans, black, white, every color in between. That's very, by the way, that's very Nazi of you, not mentioning all the colors in between and just referring to them as something between white and black. Not progressive at all, Emil. If Starfield feels diverse to you, that's the reason. The future equals hope for everyone. Yeah, and this is like what we got. I mean, like, God all fucking mighty. I wish we didn't. It's bad. One of the biggest flaws in inherent mainstream gaming is their memory. New games make them instantly forget. New games make them instantly forget every past controversy. So after Bethesda's layoffs, here's what Bethesda design director Emil Paglarino had to say about Starfield. Yep. There is no chance. This is going to be done again. This is literally the future you're looking on. It's going to be great. Don't worry about it. Obsidian obviously is not faring any better at all. Obsidian Entertainment art direction and female character design over the last 7 years. The Outer Worlds 2, Avowed. Can you imagine the next Fallout? And no, you cannot sleep with them. That was a literal line that they had in the video for the Outer Worlds 2 companions. No one would want to do that. They're disgusting, unappealing, boring, and dull. No one would want to do that in the first place, thank you very much. Yeah. This is Obsidian's art style. Now, granted, the guy who made this art style, as I previously said, has been yeeted and deleted. But it's not like it's gonna save them, because Obsidian's engine, whatever they're using, literally just looks like this. So there's not a lot of saving. Okay, it is bad. It is absolutely bad. Yep, Thanos snapping Fallout's existence is pretty on point, honestly, here. And yeah, everyone is beyond absolutely horrified about what are going to be the outcomes. Again, this is just an example of how great of a game Avowed was. Look at this.
Wait. No one's walking in the town. They're all standing still. Wait. Is there anyone walking? Wait. Wait. There's no one walking. Every NPC in the town is standing still. Oh my god.
The level of immersion you're gonna see in probably whatever Obsidian's Fallout project is. Bloomberg, Obsidian Entertainment cancels planned Avowed sequel. Good, because no one wanted that. And pivots to new Fallout title led by New Vegas director John Sawyer. We already talked about John is useless. Yes, he was a huge part of New Vegas, but New Vegas was lightning in a bottle, and, you know, he just lucked out. That's the end of the story. Will John Sawyer make a good game? Probably not. Again, there is absolutely no world where I'm gonna trust a Fallout game to the people who made this garbage. Or, you know, Bethesda to make a game. Okay, I'm not even talking about any of these games any longer. I just don't trust them to be even baseline human at this point. I worry that this will end very badly. Obsidian hasn't released a great RPG in over a decade. The Elder World 2 was trash and worse than 1, true, based and real, which was already not good, Lamau, and Avowed was awful. Their last 3 MMO RPGs all flopped. This is fact. The fact that they were even planning an Avowed 2 is terrifying. Well said, King. And yeah, 257,000 reviews on this. And needless to say, people support this, except some, because some people are very stupid. The Outer Worlds 2 was good. Then why didn't you buy it? Everyone who says The Outer Worlds 2 was good didn't buy it. There's a lot of people who are going to be like, oh, The Outer Worlds 2 was... Then why didn't you buy it? Go and buy it. You didn't. People are kind of speculating, is Tim Kaine coming back? Our boy Timmy Kaine. I have said this many times about Tim Kaine. I do not agree with him in general about almost anything, but I did agree with how he actually ran the company with his things that he said, like, 15 years ago when he was last relevant. And there I agree. I think he did a good job then. But all the stories that he has about the current things, the current way that he handles things and blah, 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 I don't think he would be able to handle leading a project. And this is, again, in regards to the new Fallout franchise. By the way, this is also something that I predicted more than a year ago, that most likely we are going to be getting on... Oh, right, I actually forgot to rub my... rub your nose into this. The fact that I did predict that there's going to be most likely a situation where we're getting the Elder Scrolls game Fallout more or less close to each other, because some other studio is going to be working on Fallout, and this is materializing right now. This is also something I predict, because I was only going to call it after the trailer was stopped. Yeah, you could already see that long ago, honestly. But yes, this is the problem. Even if we get the old people who made the old games, we're talking about the Morrowinds, the Oblivions, the Skyrim, the Fallout New Vegas. Even if we get those people to work on something, they're still they're going to be still the modern day stuff. They're still going to be completely corrupt and locals and whatnot. And yeah, people are calling it out. Obsidian has already... and by the way, this is a crazy one. This is kind of one of the cope tweets. This is 517k views. Obsidian has already made it publicly known that they do not want to make Fallout games in that. Microsoft is pointing a gun at their head and forcing them to do it based through and real. Imagine if Larian was forced to make a G4. That's the likelihood that game would have turned out great. I have very little faith in New Vegas 2, given giving players what they want. And needless to say, this is kind of insane, honestly, to a degree, because I'm pretty sure 2 years ago, the Obsidian director was like, well, if Microsoft a Fallout game, what happened? So I think this is cope first of all. Now, again, there are some movies that Obsidian doesn't want to take it, but that list is cope that no one wanted to do it. And now they want to do that. And it's still forcing game companies to one thing to something else that will fail, aka what is the game that made one second for making it fail? That's got that. Now what? Yeah, shit. But this is something that makes things like that. And by the way, I'm just gonna leave this up and kind of summarize perfectly my opinion on the situation. Imagine give them a job. Give them certain things what they want to do. Give them customers what they want and do a good job. Why give them such face? Again, if this was something else, you don't want that. This is true. Like, I don't understand how this situation has happened. We're gonna give so much praise to these developers. You see, they don't want to make this. They want to make this. Yay. No, the developers. You're paying them to do a job. So let them do the job. Like, what's wrong with you? And yeah, the Fallout game is moving forward at Obsidian. The game development is being led by the New Vegas director, John Sawyer, as we already said, and it was the Bloomberg article. That's pretty much it about this situation. It is very bad. The Fallout is dead, that's for sure. There's no way Obsidian can make this work. And The Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna be such a mess that you probably will not be able to hear a single dialogue and make sense of it. It's over. It is Bethesda, please just shut it down. Shut it down, fire everyone, and Todd's gonna get fired, okay? This has been my prediction for a year plus now. It has to happen. Todd's on his way out. It's gonna happen. Deal with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. Deckard Starfield was developed by the most wonderful Hey, want to see something funny and out of touch? I know that this is gonna sound completely crazy, but hear me out. I have been right about this stuff before. And here we are once again. I was proven completely right, exactly on the money. When will the doubters learn that giving enough time, everything I say will come true? Honestly, I can't even blame these people. I'm sure they're just jealous of the shirt, of the absolute perfect haircut that inspired Ruby Rose. Not the other way around, by the way. Yes, I was right once again. Who would have expected? The people who are maybe new to this channel do not know, but my track record is absolutely spotless. And this probably is my greatest I told you so moment ever, because I was proven right. Literally. Less than 2 hours after posting this video. It is beautiful. And I have to say, this time was pretty interesting. Usually there's a doubter here or there, but this time, boys, there was a lot of it, okay? I was kind of pleasantly surprised because we don't get these delights often now, do we? And there was this comment. Source, it occurred to me in a dream. Do you know what my source was? Do you know what my secret source was? My source was, I made it the fuck up. That's right. I just did it again. I made it up. I just threw the dice and once again, somehow, magically, was right again. Just, you know, magically. Somehow this just keeps happening. It's the same party trick I do on my other channel where I play MTG and I somehow predict 5 card draws in a row. Ooh, yes, I'm full of tricks, baby. Oh yeah, and this one was beautiful. Okay, this is one of those rare comments, and I replied to it. I love you guys who are always hoping I'm wrong and then seat when I'm proven right. And here we are again, once again, proven right. Given enough time, I will always be right, and you should probably learn that lesson already. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. This happens a little bit, because some people just don't understand these things. Some people are incapable of perceiving reality like we do. And thus, they write comments like this. And by the way, this person also replied to me again and said, okay, bud. I'll return in 3 months' time. You don't need 3 months. You don't need 3 months. And if I'm wrong, I'll concede. Will you make a video addressing this if you're mistaken? I would have actually probably done that. I would have mentioned this. There's a popular misconception of people who don't know this channel and kind of randomly stumble upon it and instantaneously for some reason dislike it, which is wrong, and you shouldn't do that. That they think that I never admit when I'm wrong. Bro, if you haven't watched this channel, you probably don't know this. If you're new, there's literally me checking marathon statistics for 2 months straight, and I multiple times say, oh, I actually thought this is gonna happen faster than it is. I was wrong about this. This is now different. And I was predicting marathons numbers, by the way, in the single digits percent-wise, and in the double digits player-wise sometimes. And we were on point, boys. On point every single time. Until the one time that it finally happened, and I was predicting that this point is going to come, where I am wrong, and suddenly everything else is going to be unpredictable. When that happened, what did I say? What did I say? I said, as I have said many times before, I was wrong about this one. Who would have expected? I don't know where people are getting this idea that I will never admit that I am wrong, even though I have admitted multiple times that I was wrong about something. And by the way, in this video, I'm gonna give you a little bit of context, even though I was right. I'm gonna explain why I was probably not as right as I should be, because there's a little bit new information that's kind of interesting. But in any case, I will be expecting an apology in the comment sections right here, because, Well, I was proven right about this. Now, granted, I would like to say also, if you want to call me wrong, that's completely fine. I have nothing against that. I'll be right at the end, and you know it. We're just gonna have the ability to make more fun videos like this. In any case, this is a 15-minute video, so I'm actually interested about what I was wrong because it's not really clear. I'm assuming about the fact that the Elder Scrolls 6 is like 3 to 4 years away, I said. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. Or maybe the fact that Todd Howard is gone. Now, the fact that Todd Howard is gone, by the way, has already been corroborated months ago by everything that we know, and now it's even harder corroborated. I actually didn't speak about it, but I will, because there is one fact that shows us that Todd's gone, baby. Todd has no longer any say in anything that happens in Bethesda. Well, he's still the spokesperson, but he has no say, trust me. And there's one very easy proof of this. But about the Elder Scrolls 6 coming out, I predicted this from the changes with Bethesda and the fact that they got rid of Starfield. You know, you watched the video, you know what I did. And, well, literally, less than 2 hours after I posted this, these articles started springing up. More than 8 years on from its announcement, the Elder Scrolls 6 is reportedly still at least 2 more years from release. Because Microsoft is done. Microsoft is done with allowing Bethesda to do whatever they want. They're gonna tell, and now Bethesda is gonna be forced to speed up the development of Elder Scrolls 6. So it's gonna be here pretty soon. And this, I know, this is IGN, but we're starting with the fun ones, okay? This was IGN posting it. After we have Kami quoting a Bloomberg source, after we have Idle Slot also quoting a Jason Schreier, and then we have, the whole article about it, and we win. This is it. This is what he says. It's literally right here, like the IGN, what's this called? Header, whatever it's called. This is pretty much the same reasoning, the same everything. And now, there's another video that I got vindicated. For some reason, this one, people did not care to try and oppose me on this one. But this was also yesterday, literally 20 hours ago. Obsidian will make Fallout New Vegas 2. For some reason, people did not try and actually fight me on this one. There was one person who asked, source? I made it up, and I'll do it again, and I'll be right, and I'll do it again another time, and I'll be right then again. How many times have I been right, boys? A lot. And it's not going to change. Business finance, baby. Strong stuff. Anyway, and here I also just commented, so I don't have to deal with this annoying stuff, that it has been officially announced a couple of hours after posting this video, Obsidian is working on a new Fallout game. Now, granted, this is the interesting part, okay? This is the interesting part. Fallout game, not Fallout New Vegas 2. Now, chances are, obviously, that it's probably Fallout New Vegas 2, but it's a little bit interesting that it's not named yet, because we do actually know a bunch of details about this. So we have Shinobi 602, Bloomberg, Obsidian Entertainment cancels planned Avowed sequel and pivots to a New Vegas title led by New Vegas director Josh Sawyer. I have a few choice words about this. Oh, and by the way, boys, I'm so proud of this comment section right here, because whenever you pause and read any comment, people are instantaneously doubting and instantaneously knowing that if Obsidian makes a Fallout New Vegas, or any Fallout for that matter, it's gonna be garbage. It's gonna be shit. And we all know this. I'm proud of you, boys. You knew it. I did not want to go that hard. I did not even want to go that route. That route is for today and tomorrow and after tomorrow. Because I did not expect this announcement just to be done, this fast. Literally hours after I post the video. I did not expect that. I'll give you that. I did not expect that. But it happened. And yeah, it's gonna be bad. And by the way, the fact that Obsidian Entertainment is doing a Fallout game is proof that Todd Howard is pretty much gone. All the power that he has, all the decision making that he had, is gone. I don't remember when this was. I think it was like a year, 2-ish years ago or something like that. There was news that Bethesda will never allow any other studio to make a Fallout game. And we all laughed because we knew that this is true because of Fallout New Vegas and what reversible damage that did to Todd Howard's psyche. Hilarious stuff, by the way, 10 out of 10. Like the video right now, takes less than a second. I greatly appreciate it, thank you. In any case, Todd Howard, after the humiliation of Fallout New Vegas, was never gonna allow there to be another Fallout game outside of his own studio. We knew this. This was corroborated. I don't remember, was this like a source close to Todd Howard, or was this Todd Howard himself saying that? But Todd Howard was never going to allow anyone outside of Bethesda to touch their mainline entries, aka Fallout, aka the Elder Scrolls. But now Obsidian just magically is allowed to make a Fallout game? After literally years of begging for this, because yes, by the way, the CEO of Obsidian, I think 2 or 3 years ago was the last time when he said, well, if Microsoft gives us a Fallout game, we would happily make it. I don't want it, keep it. True Fallout fans don't want a Fallout New Vegas 2 from Obsidian, from Bethesda, or any of these games. But in any case, here is the Bloomberg post, and this one's interesting. This one's new information, and the summary pretty much puts it in perfectly. Studio design director Josh Sawyer will lead the new Fallout title, and Obsidian will work with Bethesda Game Studios on the project, which is part of Xbox Josh Sarma to invest more in the company's biggest franchises. Again, as I said, this is gonna happen, and it does. And, this is just proof that Todd's out of the picture. Todd would never sign off of this. He's terrified of this situation. I would not be surprised if he tries to sabotage it. Joke's on him, there's no point in sabotaging this project because Obsidian is fucking trash and garbage. In any case, a lot of people are currently also, right. The way that this is written, the fact that we already know so much about the new Fallout game, who's making it and blah, 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 who's the director of it, is very suspicious. Because the fact that we know so much, but we don't know if it's New Vegas 2, actually means one of two things. There's only two possible scenarios here. Yes, you can now write it again in the comments. Source! I know some of you will, based. And the thing about this is, there's two only possibilities. One, this is extremely hot off the presses leaks from people who previously worked at Obsidian, just got fired, and knew this and just told him about it, because what did they have to lose now at this point? Or something like that. Or this is not Fallout New Vegas 2. If this is an old thing and Jason Schreier just waited to publish this now, and we know that the guy actually sits on a bunch of things and publishes it when it has the most reach and hit, then this could actually not be New Vegas 2. Now, granted, chances are in general that it's going to be New Vegas 2, but this is the way that this is spoken about, the fact that we know so much from the director to the everything, but we don't know if it is confirmed New Vegas 2 is very sus. Just saying, just putting it out there. Now that is the granted pure speculation though, but it is something that you can think about. And for everyone who's currently ecstatic, happy about the fact that George Sawyer, the guy who directed, made, blah, 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 Fallout New Vegas, originally, where is it? Is it even here? No? Whatever. This is the guy who's now making it, and this is old Obsidian. No, it's not. This is the guy who made The Outer Worlds 2. This is the guy who worked on Avowed. Well, he didn't. And by the way, this also just further corroborates my Obsidian shutting down theory. And if you're new, shutting down, I'm just using that as clickbait, lamau, because no company gets shut down, but what happens is the equivalent of a modern day shutdown. And the fact that this guy from he was studio design director. Design director is many steps below game director. And now he's gonna be the one making this big, new, massive project demanded by Microsoft himself. Everyone in Obsidian who was in a meaningful position pretty much has been either rotated out or just yeeted at this point. So yeah, Obsidian has been completely gutted in the way that it operates. But the fact that this guy was the studio design director for The Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed, and the only thing that he made that was even remotely good was 16 years ago. Yet again. Oh, actually, wait. Do we see it here? Oh, we do see it because yeah, it's 16 years ago. So yeah. He was the lead designer and one of the people behind Fallout New Vegas. Okay, that's how it is. He actually, and those were the old days, so he actually did a little bit more than just lead designer. He is one of the people very much responsible for Fallout New Vegas. Again, he's washed up. This is the same thing as people are happy. Oh, the BioWare team, the original G's are making the new game. Exodus. Fucking Lamau is gonna be woke shit. Everyone knows it. And, this is the same situation. This is not good. Okay? Fallout New Vegas is whatever Fallout these